And so I want to preface my talk about a few things today. I know the topic is managing school, work, and home, and strategies for balance and being kind to yourself. And what I'm going to do today to kind of focus our talk, I'm going to give you more general suggestions versus going into lots of details. And then I want to lead us through a practice that will help in that being aware and being kind to yourself through this ongoing challenging time. And what I want to do, though, is I also want to refer you to a resource. So for those of you that, I think most of you are Sutter employees, through our EAP library, Anna Morgado, who's a licensed marriage family therapist, did a couple talks on. The first one was back to school, and the second one is home as an office, school, and 24-hour diner. She, along with an educator and a physician, also go into more really specific tools in managing some of these things. And also, I just want to remind you that if you do have children at home, school-age children, that often the schools, through a school counselor, may have some resources as well. And I know our teachers are working really hard, but the teachers can be a support. So I think it's important to get support wherever you can. So I want to tailor this talk. I know there's people that have various configurations. Some of you are working from home. Some of you are coming into the office, might be essential workers. Some of you have children. Some of you do not. Some of you have partners or do not have a partner. So there's various configurations of what you might be dealing with. So I'm going to try to just target some general concepts that could be helpful at this time. But if you are on the call and have school-age children, we all know we've moved into a different routine again. And so I want to just highlight, I think, some really important things to remember. So first of all, since we are in an unprecedented time, we're in new territory, and we're in territory that keeps changing. Just when you think you got one system down, it will change again. And so I think it's really important to just be as patient and as kind to yourself, your children, your partners, in this very unchanging time. And we all know that when we're under stress and duress, we revert back to old patterns and more reactivity, and we may not be our best self. And that's okay right now. It's really okay, because we're all struggling. So it's important to just be able to take a breath and to be patient. It's also important to be flexible with your routines, your expectations of yourself and others. So even though you may have laid out a routine for your days, or your family has a routine, which I do recommend, I want to talk a little bit more about that, it's important to have flexibility with that routine. Because if you're very stressed, your children are stressed, your partner's stressed, your pet's stressed, whatever it may be, your ability to do anything productive, to use your higher brain function, will not be happening. So it's important to be flexible and with that flexibility to have scheduled breaks in your routine, scheduled breaks for you, for your children, for your partner, and maybe at times needing to let go of something till the next day or later in the day. So, that routine is important now, and I think, as some of you have been in school routines for a few weeks, some of you are just getting started, some of you may not have started. Again, I think as much as you can have, and especially if you're working from home or one of you are working from home, it's important to have a routine, a schedule where there's designated work time, where there's designated workspaces, where there's designated comfort in your workspace. And we know that depending on the age of your children, some of them can be more independent in their own workspace, and some of them you may need to be much closer in proximity to their workspace. So to just remember that this routine is a work in progress. And even if the way things were in the spring, doesn't mean it has to be the same way now. So it's important to be kind of taking a look at things with a fresh eyes. And again, with that routine, as I said, it's important to have breaks for fun, to do something that's just more frivolous, to have outdoor time when we can. I know that is now another challenge with the air quality in the Bay Area and in the Valley as well. So that makes it hard. But again, if you can even creatively exercise inside, that's important. So I think it's important with that flexibility, that patience, is to let go of perfection, your own perfection around your work, your child's work. I know many parents are afraid their children are going to get behind, they're not going to learn, they're not going to have what they need, they're not going to graduate. So just to catch yourself when you're going into future thinking, and knowing that everyone is in the same boat right now, and we're all doing the best we can, and that your child is still learning. And remember, learning comes not only in book form, but in all the other things that they may learn in a home environment. And that it's important that it doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be exact. And I think the schools are aware of that as well. It's really right now, I think the most important thing is to be able to maintain your relationship or your attachment with your children and with your partner. So it's important to remember that first and foremost, you are their parent. You're not their teacher. You're not their doctor. Even though with younger children you may be more involved in schoolwork, but remember to be gentle with yourself, that you need not to hold the full responsibility for their education. And that's why, again, outreach to teachers, to schools, to administrators, school counselors, that can be very helpful. It's important to maintain your relationship or attachment with your partners as well. So, again, that's the most important thing. Not if the dishes get done, not if the house gets cleaned. I know those things are important. I know when our environments are in some kind of organized form, it helps us to feel more internally organized and in control. But again, where you can let things go right now, if it means in order to maintain your relationships, that I think is the most important thing. It's important that you have connection with others. So I think now more than ever, it's important to have connection with other families, or if you are single and alone at home, in connection with others, because we can't do this alone right now. We cannot get through all the stressors we're in right now without connection and support from other people. So whatever ways you can have informal, formal support, even if it's with one other family or one other person, it's really important in maintaining a sense of balance and equanimity in this time. As I had shared in an earlier talk, that I think it's important to really mark your transitions from work to home or school to home. So again, if those of you that are working from home, if you have a designated workspace, again, when your day is done, can you shut the door? Can you cover up your workspace? Can you use a partition to keep it separate? It's important to feel like work ends, because when you were coming into an office, you did leave the office. You hopefully left your work behind. So it's important to do that at home. If your kids are at school, right now, I know I heard one school administrator say, there isn't really a thing as homework because it's all home work right now. The kids are working from home. But they, too, need to feel when school is on and when it's off, when they're taking a break, or when maybe formal training is done for a day and they need some break time before they go maybe into additional work time. So whatever way you can kind of support yourself, your partner, your children in marking those transitions. So again, depending on the age of the child, your own age, sometimes movement can be something that helps us. Do we walk it out, shake it out, dance it out as we transition? Is there room for play or doing something creative that marks the transition? Is it, if you're working in a medical facility and you're coming home, maybe it's taking a shower. Maybe it's having a few quiet moments of mindfulness or imagery. Maybe it's, getting on a bicycle or taking a walk. Again, I know that's hard to do right now, but is there creative ways to do that in the home? To get some movement, some exercise? Is it just even, saying out loud, okay, school's done or work is done, I'm home now? And then the last thing I want to leave you with before we do a little bit of practice here is the form of gratitude. And I think a nice time to do that is at your dinner table. Again, whether you're alone at your dinner table, whether you have one person there or 5 people there, can you pause and offer gratitude for your food? Can you pause and offer gratitude for your day? I remember when my son was young, we used to have our roses and thorn time. So we'd name our rose of the day. That was usually our positive experience. And we'd each name our thorn for the day. Again, that might be a challenge or a difficulty, but it was a way to connect with each other and a way to review our day. So I think it's important to have that time for reflection around your day. So I'm going to let those general concepts just kind of roll over you. And let's do a little bit of mindful practice for, maybe for the next 10 minutes. So what I'd like you to do is just let all those thoughts, all those suggestions, those things just kind of roll off right now. And I'd like you to connect, first of all, to your body felt sense. And let's do something a little different today. I'm going to have you just do a little movement through the body, especially those of you that have in your work, you're probably doing a lot of sitting. Some of you, I'm not sure if you're on this call, might also be on your feet a lot. So maybe just do a moment of bringing your awareness to your neck and just moving your head up and down like you're saying yes. A movement of yes in the head, and then gently turning the neck from right to left and left to right as if you're saying no. And then doing a few shoulder rolls, bringing the shoulders up and back. And I should say, if you want to stand up and do this a minute, you're welcome to stand up to get a little more movement in the body. So do some shoulder rolls in both directions. And then shake out the arms. These things are things you can also do as a way to mark your transition of the day. And then maybe just doing a side bend to the left where you're first reaching up, hand goes up towards the ceiling, and then gently reaching towards the left. And then switching, and the arm reaches up, and then gently towards the right. And then bringing your awareness to your legs, standing on your left leg and just kind of shaking out your right leg. Standing on your right leg and just shaking out your left leg. And then if you did go into standing, I'd like you to sit back down and just make some contact with your breath now. Letting things settle again. Noticing maybe with that little bit of movement, you might feel a little more tingling or vibration in the body, or maybe even a little more energy in the body right now. And just letting your breath be in its own natural rhythm. And then I'm going to take you through a practice that was developed by Tara Brach, who is a psychologist and a mindfulness teacher. And this is a practice she calls RAIN, R-A-I-N. So the R is for recognize, The A is for allow. The I is to investigate or inquire. And the N is for nurture or nourish with self-compassion. So what I'd like you to do is first just maybe either recognize a thought or an emotion that is connected to this topic of trying to manage all that you're trying to manage right now. Work, school, house duties, relationship. Maybe just pick one thought or one feeling that's connected to this. So we're just going to recognize. Am I feeling anxious or stressed or frustrated? Am I worried? Am my kids going to have a good education? Am I feeling I have too much to do at work? Again, just picking one thing. So first, the part of RAIN is just to recognize what is here right now for me. And then there's an allowing. The A is allow. Allowing yourself just to be with your experience, just as it is right now. And you can even label this experience. You could say, this is a moment of fear, or this is a moment of frustration. Or there may be a thought, this is an anxious thought. This is a self-critical thought. So by both recognizing and allowing and naming, there's a little distance from it. This is a moment of whatever it is. And then the I is to investigate or inquire. And one of the ways to kind of keep it in the present and not have you get flooded with the story is just notice, where do I feel this in my body? Where do I notice either an emotion or a thought that I'm having right now? Where is it felt in the body? Is there a tension? Is there a tightness? Is there an emptiness? Is there agitation? And again, not getting all bogged down in the whole story and all the details that go with it, but just noticing, how does my body respond when I have this particular thought or emotion? And then we're going to move to the N, and this is the really important part, to be able to nurture or nourish with self-compassion. And if you will, if you've been able to identify where in the body you may be feeling that emotion or thought, if it feels comfortable, put your hand on that place. Maybe it's in your heart center. Maybe it's in your belly. If you want to even put two hands, or maybe it's just even bringing your hands together. But with the intention that you're going to offer yourself kindness and compassion for whatever you're experiencing right now. And to continue that sense of self-compassion, I'm going to offer you a few phrases you can say to yourself or just let them float by. And then we will move to ending. So again, in that importance of that self-compassion, I'm going to offer the following phrases. May I accept myself exactly as I am in this moment. May I accept myself exactly as I am in this moment. I am doing the best I can. I am doing the best I can. May I offer myself kindness and compassion when I falter or when I feel I am less than perfect. May I offer myself all the kindness and compassion I can when I feel like I have faltered or failed or I'm less than perfect. So I invite you to bring in that kindness and compassion for yourself, for others that you live with, for your coworkers, as you're trying to manage all and balance all these things, and doing it with a kind, open heart, with flexibility, with letting go. So may you take this with you in the rest of your day. Thank you for joining me on the call today. Take care. Bye-bye.